reaction, Coach, to the draw and who you play?
I think it's a great draw. Savannah State will do a lot of homework on those guys. I know they won their conference. Horace Broughton, that's one of the coach of the year, so I'm familiar with him. And they'll be tough, they'll defend, and they'll play hard.
I know you probably expected to be at home, but nice to start out there, especially as a 1 seed in your bracket.
It is to be at home and get our fans behind us, generate some energy for us, to get out the gates and get off to a good start. Because sometimes you have a tendency as a player to be a little relaxed somewhat, to get over that hump that you're not in the NCAA tournament, so you need your fans to get you over that hump. And I think once you get going, you'll be fine.
You mentioned the state of mind of the team after a disappointment in New Orleans.
Well, I thought the guys were okay when we had a practice, tough practice today, a short, tough practice. I thought the guys were okay. Obviously, you want to be in the NCAA tournament. But like I told the guys, we had 32 games to do our work, and we came up short, and it's part of it.
What's the, how do you motivate your guys going into this?
Just playing hard. I think the biggest key is just playing hard and being hungry, because I think once the ball is tipped and you get out there as a competitive basketball player, you just start playing basketball at that point. And just really compete. This is not a team where you have 9, 10 seniors on the team where they felt like they didn't make the NCAA tournament. We got guys that are still hungry to play and be successful and be a part of this program.
How much does it mean for the future of your program that you get this extra time with these guys to work and practice? I
think the biggest key, obviously, you want to win games, but just to really practice and get better, individual skill-wise, continue to improve as a team, continue to gel as a team. So it's very important to get those extra games under your belt.
It's obviously not the NCAA tournament, but the potential, and it's 120 minutes or so away, but the potential to go to the Garden, is that something that's kind of a nice, something to kind of dangle out there for the guys? If you play hard, you can go play in the Garden?
Oh, without a doubt. And you're able to win games, you're able to play games and win them. That's very important. And to have a goal to go to New York and play in the Final Four, so to speak, and win a championship. Because I said it before, it's rare that teams have an opportunity to win their last game. Not many teams can say that. So if you have an opportunity to do that, you want to take full advantage.
Were you guys surprised not to make the NCAA tournament, or do you think they kind of knew it was a long shot?
For them, I think it was 50-50. You were hoping, because you felt like, I think the biggest key, you felt like playing the SEC the way you finished at 10-6 in this league, so you felt like you had an opportunity. But I think they probably felt like it was 50-50 either way.
Is there still something to prove for these guys, do you think?
I like to think there's something to prove. Because you're playing for the University of Tennessee, you're still playing basketball games. There's always something to prove when you're competing.
You've had experience in the past of winning a non-NCAA tournament in the postseason. With that team, is there anything you learned kind of from that experience as to how to push buttons, or is that kind of up to the guys?
Well, at that team that won the CIT tournament, you had pretty much everybody coming back, so they were hungry. Kind of young team was hungry and had success. You won the league the next year, so I think this team is very similar from that standpoint. You got the majority of your roster coming back, so guys are hungry to compete and be successful.
Coach, how much do you talk to the team about these next 2 or 3 weeks, or however long you stay alive, about laying the foundation for next year, and kind of using this to springboard into 2013?
Well, I think for us, once the season started, we start laying a foundation, the groundwork, so to speak, of really competing and playing hard. Now they're familiar with it. They understand what we have to do as a program, the level we try to be at as a program. And it's just one day at a time and getting there.
And when you look at, I guess Alabama definitely jumps to mind how they used it for springboard last year with Coach Grant, and when the NIT, is that kind of the blueprint for what you want to do? I mean, just get your guys used to succeeding in the postseason and hope that it carries over? Well,
I think we want to be in the state tournament program every year. I mean, that's the goal. I think we'll have the personnel to do that. Barring major injuries and anything like that, we'll have the personnel to compete for NCAA tournaments every year.
You think your guys learned something about a tournament environment down there in New Orleans? I know it wasn't their best shooting night, but the intensity Ole Miss brought, just what postseason brings for a lot of these guys. It was really their first playing time in the postseason.
I just think, a different avenue, different venue, so to speak. Didn't make shots. Rims are rims, in my opinion. If you can say old, inexperienced, hadn't played in that venue. Kentucky had plenty of guys hadn't played in that. Jarvis Summers' first time in there. You're a ball player, you're a ball player. I mean, you adjust to the atmosphere, 5-10 minutes, now let's play some ball.
Coach, can you just talk about what happens from a nuts and bolts standpoint of trying to scramble and get tape of a opponent you don't know much about and get ready to play games?
Well, I think the one thing about what we do is you once again rely on your principles to get you out of jams, so to speak. You pressure the ball, defend at the level you're capable of defending, and you go from there. But I mean, they don't have a lot of time to study our personnel. We don't have a lot of time as well. You're more concerned about what you do as opposed to what they do.
You talked about the goal being to make the NCAA tournament every year, to get close but not make it. Is it disappointing even though you still have a chance to play more?
It's not disappointing.
Given where you all
especially not from where we started. And I wouldn't necessarily say expectation, but more the unknown than expectations. And the guys made great strides, but I talk about it all the time. I told the guys you can never take any game or win for granted because you never know when you get the next one. So whatever the opponent is when you play them, you have to play as hard as you can play to win that game.